And then what are your views of the online community? It seems like there used to be just a couple, forums, a couple web pages, and it sort of keeps growing and growing and growing. So I was just wondering what your thoughts were on that.
Well, it gets back to the are they new, are they old thing. I think there's an old community of prop collectors that we see on the MPF, for example. Very knowledgeable, very competitive. Not always the most engaging to newbies, and therefore not very effective in preserving the integrity of the hobby and encouraging newbies to be well educated. So that's a very old school. That's kind of like the old school prop collecting board. I still go there, still read things from time to time, but my interests are very specific. Star Trek and Battlestar, that's it. That's all I collect. I'm not going to collect Iron Man when we do that auction. And then there's a lot of other forums that have sprung up. I know you have one on your site, and I've kind of gotten away from spending a lot of time on forums because I'm so busy with PropWorx. And also, you just get to that saturation point. When I'm not doing PropWorx, I really don't want to be doing this. But obviously, the Star Trek Prop and Costume Forum, which I run, has over 700 members and has really served the Star Trek community well. I think just a great sharing of information. Our Battlestar Forum is similar, but with mostly newbies, but nonetheless fun. And I'm not sure of all the other ones, but I think the new wave of prop collector are newbies coming into the hobby and they're thirsty for information, and I think that's kind of why your blog has exploded, is because it's the only consistent source for objective information, and people want that and they need that, and so they're going to look on forums, they're going to look on, and Star Trek, let's face it, is still the biggest single collecting area in props and costumes, just because of all 28 years worth of shows. And what, 11 movies, now 12. So, I think the forums are invaluable. I think when I notice that you're always engaging people on your forum, which is awesome. I fortunately have a lot of people on my Star Trek forum who, when I'm absent, engage themselves, and that's good. It's this. I think what separates the new collector from the old collector is this feeling of responsibility for sharing what we know with the new collectors. And I always send people to your blog. The newbies, we always talk about, you want to learn, you go over to Jason's blog. Because when you talk about all the fraudulent Superman stuff out there, even if we're not collecting Superman, we're learning from that. We're learning from the Statue of Liberty incident. And it makes people better. You just can't get through people enough the idea that, always assume it's fake and make someone prove to you that it's real through provenance. Look, I've gotten taken twice now in 6 months on Star Trek stuff. Now, I say taken, I got my money back both times because I'm not going to deal with someone who's not going to be that way, but, 2 fake items. Neither person was trying to defraud me, but that's where the communities come in. That's where all the new forums, the new blogs, they all serve that purpose really, really well, and I think that's and there's a lot of people in the Star Trek community that I'll put new people in touch with who they love talking about this stuff. Talk to Brett Jones about props. He'll talk your ear off about this stuff because he loves it so much, and I'm not begrudging anyone on on the MPF or anywhere else who's very private, and I was just talking to Greg Jean and I said, look, Greg, I'd love to do an interview with you. I know you're a private person. I totally respect that. If you don't want to, no problem. He has a feeling that he doesn't want to share too much information, only because he doesn't want to tell someone their stuff is fake. He was part of that whole Mark English thing back in the 80s where everyone got taken. So I think he feels kind of burning, and he stopped authenticating for profiles in history. And I respect that, no problem. But I think we all have a responsibility to the next generation of collectors. I'm a new collector, right? I've been in this hobby just about 3 years now. But I dove in feet first and made a business out of it, and I don't know everything. I still call you up a lot to talk about this stuff, or I'll call up my friends who've been in the hobby, Dana Hammondtree, or or someone and say, hey, or Rob Klein is a great source of information. So yeah, I think we all have a responsibility. I think that responsibility is best served when we engage other people online.
Okay, one last question. What do you think is driving the growth of the hobby the most? Would it be people stumbling on stuff on eBay, studio resale events, or auction house sales like Profiles in History? Because Profiles in History, they get a lot of media coverage for their events. The studio sales, like your Battlestar Galactica one, obviously that brought in, like you said, a lot of new entrants to the hobby. eBay, we kind of share the same view on that being a really bad place, not only to buy props, but to sort of get started in the hobby, just because you're, the odds are against you big time.
Well, I can't speak for how many. The question would be, how many people go to eBay saying, let me look for some props and costumes? I don't think, I don't know. I think you find it when you're searching Star Trek and you go, Star Trek prop? Oh, let me check that out. So I don't think eBay contributes to the growth of this hobby. It may contribute to the stunting the growth of the hobby because people get burned and then lose interest.
Right.
Profiles is good for the top end of the hobby. Like a Julian's auction house, and we haven't mentioned Julian's auction house, but Julian's is a excellent auction house that does some. I've been to a couple of their auctions and very impressive. What they do. They're a direct competitor for Profiles, not of ours. They don't do what we do, but they compete with Profiles. So Julian's, Profiles, they bring people in, but really at the top end. They're really bringing the people that have thousands and thousands of dollars to spend.
Right.
You have $200,000 to spend on a high-end prop. How many different people have bid over $100,000 on a prop in Profiles in History? That number doesn't grow a lot.
Right.
Meanwhile, we have had over 3,000 different bidders in the Battlestar auctions on eBay, and live and eBay combined. I think that the studio sales, because of the notoriety, we had a full-page article in TV Guide. We were on every TV station in LA. It was there at the second auction. We did a early morning bid on, I think it was Channel 5 on KTLA, I think that is. And when we were done, we were starving. We went to the Burger King for breakfast, and this guy walks in and goes, "Hey, I just saw you guys on TV." That was kind of funny. But things like that, which happen because the studio media department is behind you, and they can leverage their assets. That's important. Things like that are the studios bring to enormous firepower to the table, and we had a lot of people walk through the preview days on our auction, and that probably never bid, but they want to come see Battlestar and buy a catalog and whatever. So I think the studio sales, especially as they get more prominent, Battlestar, Lost, Heroes, Iron Man, that's going to drive this hobby moving forward. That's my opinion. Mm-hmm. And those people are then going to go, oh, Prop Store London has X for sale. Isn't that interesting? They're going to get on the forums. They're going to share information. They're going to learn about, I mention all the time, Screen News and Prop Store London as the pretty much the only two places I would buy secondary props. And not to say that they're perfect, things slip through all the time. I've heard all the stories. But I think, you're basically dealing with honest people. So someone says to me, "Hey, Alec, I missed, the Star Trek auctions. Where can I go?" And I'm basically going to say, watch Screen News every day. Because there's always stuff popping up, Star Trek stuff popping up at reasonable prices. So it'll filter down. They're going to come in through the studio sales, and then they're going to, if they want to stay, they're going to, and become and broaden their hobby. They're going to find those kind of sellers. But I really think that I think we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg as far as the studio sales go. Certainly, if I have anything to do with it.
Okay. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk with the readers of the Original Prop blog, and hope you enjoy the rest of Comic-Con.
I will always do.
Thanks.